بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأصلي وأسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. الأربعين النووية. Explanation of Imam An-Nawawi's 40th explanation by Shaykh Saleh Al-Fawzan. And we will continue reading the Hadith, Hadith 7. أيوة Hadith السابع. عن أبي رقية تميم بن أوس الداري رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: الدين نصيحة. قلنا: لمن؟ قال: لله ولكتابه ولرسوله ولأئمة المسلمين وأمتهم. أو المسلم. أي نعم. أبو رقية تميم بن أوس الداري, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the religion is giving nasiha. We asked, to whom? He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, to Allah, His book, His messenger, and the leaders of the Muslim, and the rank and file collected by Muslim. When the companions, may Allah's pleasure be upon them all, asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about nasiha, they say, to whom, O messenger? He said, to Allah. So the first of what you have to give nasiha is regarding that between yourself and Allah, glorious is He and exalted, and that is by rightly giving devotion to Him and having perfect belief in Him. Therefore you should believe in a Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat. Likewise, you believe in His predominant and actions, and that no one deserves to be worshipped except Him. You give worship to Him alone. This is nasiha between the servant and his Lord. It is comparative. The nasiha is given in the open and in the secret. The one who shows belief in oneness of Allah in the open but surreptitiously associates partners with Allah, or shows Iman in the open but displays in the secret, such is a hypocrite. And a hypocrite are worse than the plain disbeliever, based on his saying, إن المنافقين في درك الأسفل من النار ولن تجد لهم نصيرا. Verily the hypocrite will be in the lowest grade of the fire. No helper will you find for them. An-Nisa, ayah 145. Why? Because يخادعون الله والذين آمنوا, needing to deceive Allah and those who believe. Al-Baqarah, ayah 9. And this is the worst of deceptions. As for the one who is sincere, firstly he makes his open and secret alike to Allah. So when he says there is no deity worthy of worship in truth except Allah, he acts upon that. He worships none but Allah, the mighty and sublime. And then he invites people to the implication of this statement and its actions. Giving sincerity to Allah, the mighty and sublime, does not mean pronouncement with the tongue alone. Whoever regularly makes the statement La ilaha illallah but does not believe in it or act in accordance with it is a hypocrite. Hypocrisy is to show goodness and harbor evil. Hypocrisy is to show goodness and harbor evil. So the one who shows good to the people but actually harbors its opposite is a hypocrite. Hypocrisy is worse than disbelief, and refuge is with Allah. This is because the disbeliever declares his disbelief, and the people recognize him and are cautious of him. But hypocrite deceive the Muslims, and we consider him from amongst them while he is in truth an enemy. He betrays them, wishes them evil. He seeks for their shortcomings and faults. He exaggerates them and spreads them. So when difficulties afflict the Muslim, his hypocrisy and disbelief manifest, and he takes sides with the enemies of the Muslims. But when there is comfort and goodness, he shows belief so that he could stay with the Muslims. This is condition of the hypocrite, deceptive with Allah and deceptive with the people. Allah the Exalted says, يخادعون الله والذين آمنوا وما يخدعون إلا أنفسهم وما يشعرون. They think to deceive Allah and those who believe, where they only deceive themselves and perceive it not. Al-Baqarah, ayah 9. He said, and to his book, giving nasiyah to Allah's book, and that is the Quran, means to believe in it and be certain that it is Allah's word, and it was revealed, not created. It is actually Allah's word which He revealed to the messenger, to His messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you give much of its recital, ponder upon them and contemplate its meaning, seek its meaning, and then seek its meaning, and then carry out its injunctions and make the actions sincere for Allah, the Mighty and Sublime, alone. This is giving to the book of Allah, the Mighty and Sublime. Firstly, to believe that it's actually Allah's word. Secondly, that you study it. Thirdly, that you give much of its recitation. Fourthly, that you ponder over it, so it doesn't suffice that you recite it without knowing its meaning and explanations. Fifthly, that you should act upon it. This is because knowledge without action will not profit you. Even if you memorize the Quran more than the rest of the people and you recite the Quran more than they do, as long as you do not carry its injunctions, you are not giving nasihah the book of Allah, the Mighty and Sublime. Rather, you will have been dishonest with the book of Allah, the Mighty and Sublime. He said, and to his messengers. Similarly, you will give nasihah the messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by truly and certainly testify that he is Allah's messenger, openly and secretly, and then acting upon what he has brought and loving him more than you love yourself, your children, parents, and the entire people. So do not give preferences for love of any creature over love for Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The foremost thing is love for Allah, the Mighty and Sublime, and then love for the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, along with following him, obeying him, and acting upon his sunnah in the open and secret, and abstaining telling lies about him. So you should the foremost thing is love for Allah, the Mighty and Sublime, and then love for the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, along with following him, obeying him, and acting upon his sunnah in the open and secret, and abstaining telling lies about him. So you should not ascribe anything to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that is not identically reported from him. If you have the knowledge of chains of narration and the reporters, do not ascribe anything to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you not do this, then you should refer to the major compilation of the Sunnah and the book basically containing authentic narrations, whose authors have paid great attention to the trustworthiness and authenticity of its reports from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As what is not authentic, do not go ahead to ascribe it until you are sure of its authenticity after you have acted upon the Sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The intention is not that one memorizes the hadith without understanding their meanings. You should rather understand the meanings so that you carry out its injunctions, since it's not possible to act upon it while you do not know its meaning. It is also in your right to give explanation to it as you wish without affirming its meaning. So not say the Messenger of Allah said such and such and it means such and such until you have studied the true meaning and according to what is established from the reliable scholars. You should only ascribe the actual wording of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not any meaning except what you are sure to be correct either by yourself or you are capable of that or asking from the people of knowledge. As for the wording of hadith, you should refer to the stated books in the Ummah containing authentic narrations such as Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih al-Muslim, Sahih ibn Ibn, Ibn Khuzaymah, and whatever is authentic in the 4 books of Sunnah and Masanid. As long as the chain of the transmission is authentic, you act upon them and ascribe them to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is given to Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, is the that you eschew innovation. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man amila amalan laysa alayhi amruna fahuwa rad." Whoever does a deed to which you have not given approval shall be rejected. فإنه من يعيش منكم فسيرى اختلافا كثيرا فعليكم بسنتي وسنة خلفاء المهديين الراشدين تمسكوا بها وعضوا عليها بالنواجذ وإياكم ومحدثات الأمور فإن كل محدث بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة. And whoever lives some longer amongst you will see a great deal of dispute. So adhere to my sunnah and the lines of conduct of the rightly guarded khalis after me. Hold on to it firmly with your molars. Beware of newly invented matters, for every innovation is a misguidance. So abstain from innovation which are things that have not been reported authentically determined from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From that also is that the weak narration which we have been clearly mentioned to be weak by the scholars I am by the scholars. Do not ascribe them to Allah's Messenger by way of affirmation. You should only say it is reported from Allah's Messenger or it is transmitted from Allah's Messenger. Do not say Allah's Messenger said such and such or Allah's Messenger did such and such. You should rather employ the sigat at-tamrid, an expression that show weakness. Being honest, all these are connected with being to Allah's Messenger. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Similarly, from giving respect to Allah's Messenger is that you do not venture into grading in relation to be identical or weak while you do not have such capabilities. No one should enter into that except the specialist in the field from among us, those who are well grounded in knowledge and about narrations. But what has emerged from many of the young ones by their being audacious with the narrations, declaring them authentic or weak without knowledge and without any previous learning and experience, without having taken knowledge from the scholars, is absolutely dangerous and is recklessness regarding the Sunnah of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is not from giving Nasihah to Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the ignorant ones dabble into the field and name themselves scholars of Hadith just because they read one of the books of Hadith or memorize a few of it. This is because merely memorizing narration does not make them scholars of Hadith. Rather, the scholar of Hadith is one who is specialized in the science of narration, and this is a great field of study which is learned from the people of knowledge and vast experience in the field. So it is not appropriate for anyone to read some books of Hadith and then begin to declare narration authentic and weak, or give explanation and commentaries or as he likes, benefit of sound understanding, because this is from the disloyalty to the Sunnah of Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. While it is compulsory to honor the Sunnah, one should not enter into it except the specialist in the field. Aywa. He said, and to the leaders of the Muslim, what the leaders of the Muslim mean is those at the helms of affairs. Giving us to them is by affirming the leadership, listening to and obeying them in what is good, and actively discharging the duties they are assigned to you. The employee, the director, the teacher, the judge, and the one who gives legal rulings, and everyone in charge of any aspect of the affairs of the Muslims assigned to him by the leader. It is obligatory upon such to give Nasihah in it by carrying out as required. If he declines or is negligent, then he is not giving Nasihah to the leader in authority. This is because you have been entrusted to do the job, but you failed to do so or were negligent with it. Also, from giving Nasihah to those at the helms of affairs is to advise them regarding some mistake that occur of which they are obvious. So if it is from other than them, they will be told about it, and if it is from them, their error in the matter will be explained to them. However, this will not be in gathering or on the pulpit. It will be only between the advisor and the leader in authority, either verbally or in writing, or by talking to a person who will get in touch with him and call his attention to that. Therefore, it is from Nasihah to the leaders to criticize them in gatherings or in other places, because this is from disloyalty to them. Even if they have shortcomings, it is not from giving Nasihah to spread them amongst the people, because this will instigate evil. Conversely, it is Nasihah to inform them if you are able to do that, or get in touch with them through an intermediary if you are unable to get in touch with them directly or through an intermediary. Then that which is obligatory is that you keep silent owing to your inability. As for the one who speaks of the shortcomings of leader before the people or before the enemies or an antagonist, such is agitating evil and dividing the community, and that is from An-Nasihah, and that is not from Nasihah. Rather, that is incitement against the leaders, which is from the worst forms of backbiting, based on the saying of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you mentioning about your brother what he dislikes. This hadith is regarding the generality of people. How about regarding those in authority? This attitude of publicly criticizing leaders is not from prohibition of evil, as some claim. It is rather evil itself, abusing them in gatherings. Forbidding evil has methods, and to forbid evil with respect to leaders is to get sincere advice across to them as is possible. This is forbiddance of evil, but if you are unable to do all that, you should remain silent since you are unable. Do not criticize them and say, this is prohibition of evil. This will not give any useful result. It will rather increase their spite and rage over their followers, and evil will ensue. Elsewise, they could descend upon the duat and the student of knowledge. They will descend on them because of this criticism which are spoken of and spread, and that will promote evil upon the community. So this is neither from giving nasiha to the leaders, nor from forbidding evil. Likewise, from nasiha to the leaders is to supplicate for their leaders for uprightness, because the uprightness is goodness for the community. And for the one who curses them, because some of them or those with the excessive favor along with the ignorance who curse them is from Nasiya. It's obligated to supplicate for them for uprightness and steadfastness. They will be supplicated for during this the sermon and in gatherings. Do not praise them for what is not in them, and the intent is not to praise them or eulogize them. Rather, what is required is that you supplicate for them for uprightness, steadfastness, and right guidance. As such, Fred bin Iyad, rahimahullah, will say, if I know that I will have only a single supplication which will be accepted, I will direct it to the leader, and this is from his deep understanding. And may Allah shower blessing on him, because the uprightness of the Muslims comes with the uprightness of their leaders. Hence, from the Nasihah, the one in authority is to supplicate for him. We got aware that one of those who claim to have knowledge is saying supplicate for them is from hypocrisy, or that this will justify the error upon which they are. We respond, you are only to supplicate for them for uprightness and steadfastness. One of them also said, supplicating for them is part of bootlicking, and that has not been reported from the pious predecessors. I will also respond that the greatest manner of giving nasiha to leaders is supplicating for them for uprightness. It has been reported from the pious predecessors that they will supplicate for the leaders so much that they expressly said that they should be prayed for during the Friday sermons and during the Eids. Aywa. This is an issue in the Ummah, and only the ignorant will deny this, or one in whose heart there is spite and bitter feeling. He said, and their rank and file nasiya to the generality of the Muslim is by way of being honest in dealings with them. As for the one who deceives the Muslim during business transaction and general dealings, he has betrayed them and has not given nasiya to them. He said, whoever deceives us is not from us. Also, from giving nasiya to the generality of the Muslim is to invite them to Allah by calling them to rectify the individual shortcomings and explain to them what they know not from the matters of their religion. And from giving nasiya to them also is ordering good and forbidding evil in the manners of the reside in the Sharia. But when evils and errors are left uncorrected, this is from betrayal. However, one will carry out only what he is capable of. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi, fa in lam yastati falbilisani, fa in lam yastati falbiqalbihi, wa dhalika ad'aful iman." Whoever amongst you that sees an evil should rectify it with his hand. If he is unable, then with his tongue. But if he is unable, then with his mind, and that is the weakest level of iman. You should only prohibit evil according to your ability. If you have the authority and set power, then you prohibit with the hand. But if you do not have authority, you prohibit with the tongue by way of explanation and invitation. And if you are unable to do that, you should prohibit it in your heart and keep away from its people and the place of evil, so that at least you liberate yourself. Similarly, from Nasihah to the generality of the Muslim is to guide your brother and advise him rightly when he seeks your counsel and request for sincere advice, such as if he seeks your counsel when he intends to marry or marry out to a person, or when he intends to partner with a person or travel with him, or assign or depute someone. So whether upon you to tell him what you know about such person and explain to him whether he is suitable or not. Not to flatter anybody about that. If you flatter and conceal what is in this person about whom your advice is sought, then that is betrayal, based on the saying, "Man ashara ala akhihi bi amrin ya'lamu anna rushda fi ghayrihi faqad khanahu." Whoever guides his brother to a matter while knowing that the right guidance in other than it has betrayed him. This is from backbiting. It is rather from Nasihah. But if you fail to explain the right thing to him, you have betrayed him, because he entrusted you with the matter, and it became rather upon you to make it clear to him. This is from giving Nasihah to the generality of the Muslim and mature consultation of the affairs. This hadith is from the simple settlement of the Prophet ﷺ, which we have comprehensive elements. So the entire religion is about giving Nasihah. Consider the one benefit of any Nasihah is benefit of deen. But if he only has deficiency in giving Nasihah, then he has deficiency in his deen. That the deen gets perfect or deficient or fades away due to the absence of Nasihah or deficiency in it.